Donald Trump, the self-proclaimed master negotiator, once threatened to slap a 150% tariff on goods from BRICS nations. This bold move was part of his larger strategy to reshape global trade dynamics and assert American dominance in the international market. That's right, 150%. This wasn't just a minor increase, it was a seismic shift that sent shockwaves through the global economy. The idea was to make foreign goods so expensive that American consumers would be forced to buy domestic products, thereby boosting the US economy. Imagine this. You buy a Brazilian coffee pot for $10 and suddenly it costs $25. The price hike would be felt immediately by consumers, making everyday items significantly more expensive. This was Trump's way of saying, play by my rules or pay the price. Why so aggressive? Well, Trump saw red when BRICS started talking about ditching the US dollar for their own fancy financial system. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, were exploring ways to reduce their dependency on the US dollar, which Trump viewed as a direct threat to American economic supremacy. This wasn't just about trade. It was personal. It was about power. Trump believed that by imposing such a hefty tariff, he could force these nations to reconsider their plans and maintain the status quo, where the US dollar reigned supreme. And Trump, like a kid whose monopoly money is being rejected, threw a tantrum. He was determined to show the world that he wouldn't back down, no matter the cost. His aggressive stance was a clear message. Mess with the US, and you'll face the consequences. He thought he could bully BRICS into submission. Trump believed that his hardline tactics would force these nations to backtrack on their plans and continue to rely on the US dollar. He was confident that his strategy would work, just as it had in his business dealings. Spoiler alert, it didn't quite work out that way. The BRICS nations stood their ground, refusing to be intimidated by Trump's threats. Instead of caving in, they doubled down on their efforts to create an alternative financial system, further straining relations with the US. This episode was a stark reminder that in the complex world of international politics, not everything goes according to plan, even for a self-proclaimed master negotiator. Why was Trump so riled up about BRICS messing with the dollar? Well, let's dive into the intricate world of global finance to understand this better. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have been making waves on the international stage, and their economic maneuvers have significant implications for the US dollar. Because the US dollar is kind of a big deal, it's not just any currency, it's the backbone of the global financial system. When we talk about the dollar, we're talking about a currency that has a unique and powerful position in the world economy. It's the world's reserve currency. This means that central banks around the globe hold large amounts of US dollars in their reserves. These reserves are used to back their own currencies and to facilitate international trade. The dollar's status as the reserve currency is a cornerstone of its strength. That means countries hold on to dollars like they're precious golden nuggets. They stockpile them to ensure they have a stable and reliable currency to use in times of economic uncertainty. This trust in the dollar is what gives it its unparalleled influence. They use them for trade, for investments, for everything. From buying oil to investing in foreign markets, the dollar is the go-to currency. Its widespread use in global transactions means that the US has a significant say in international economic affairs. This gives the US huge economic clout. The ability to influence global markets and economic policies is a powerful tool. It allows the US to maintain its economic dominance and to shape the global financial landscape to its advantage. We can borrow money cheaply. Because the dollar is so trusted, the US government can issue bonds at lower interest rates. This means that financing our national debt is less costly compared to other countries. We can print more dollars when we need them. Maybe too many, but that's a story for another day. The Federal Reserve has the ability to control the money supply, which can be a double-edged sword. While it provides flexibility in managing the economy, it also raises concerns about inflation and the devaluation of the currency. If BRICS creates its own system, the dollar's dominance is threatened. The BRICS nations have been discussing the possibility of creating a new reserve currency to reduce their dependence on the dollar. Such a move could shift the balance of economic power and diminish the US's influence. And that, my friends, is what Trump was freaking out about. The potential for BRICS to undermine the dollar's supremacy is a significant concern for any US leader. It represents a challenge to the established economic order and could have far-reaching consequences for the global financial system. How did the dollar become king of the currency castle? It's a fascinating journey that spans decades and involves a series of strategic moves, economic shifts, and historical events. Let's dive into this intriguing story. It's a long and winding tale, but here's the gist. After World War II, the global economic landscape was in shambles. Many countries were struggling to rebuild their economies, and there was a need for a stable and reliable currency to facilitate international trade and economic recovery. After World War II, the US was the big kahuna on the block. The American economy was booming, and the country emerged as a global superpower. Soldiers returning home fueled a surge in consumer demand, leading to unprecedented economic growth and prosperity. We had a strong economy, stable politics, mostly, and we were handing out dollars like Oprah giving away cars. The US dollar became the go-to currency for international trade and finance, thanks to its stability and the strength of the American economy. The Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944 cemented the dollar's status. This landmark agreement established a new international monetary system, with the US dollar at its center. It created a framework for international economic cooperation and set the stage for the dollar's dominance. It pegged the dollar to gold and other currencies to the dollar. This meant that the value of the dollar was directly linked to a specific amount of gold, and other currencies were pegged to the dollar, creating a stable and predictable exchange rate system. This system worked for a while, but eventually it went kaput. In the 1970s, economic challenges and changing global dynamics led to the collapse of the Bretton Woods system. President Nixon announced the end of the gold standard, and the dollar was no longer pegged to gold. However, the dollar's dominance continued. Despite the end of the gold standard, the US dollar remained the world's primary reserve currency. Its widespread use in international trade, finance, and investment ensured its continued importance in the global economy. Old habits die hard, you know. The dollar's role as the world's leading currency has persisted, driven by the trust and confidence that people and institutions have in its stability and reliability. From everyday transactions to major international deals, the dollar remains a cornerstone of the global financial system. Now, BRICS wants to shake things up. They're tired of being beholden to the dollar. They're especially over the petrodollar system. That's where oil, the lifeblood of the global economy, is traded in dollars. This arrangement gives the US way too much control, according to BRICS. So, what are they doing about it? They're creating their own financial institutions, like the new development bank. They're striking deals to trade in their own currencies. They're even talking about a BRICS-backed currency. It's a long shot, but hey, stranger things have happened. Here's the thing about BRICS. They're not just 5 countries anymore. They're like the cool kids table in the global cafeteria, and everyone wants to sit with them. Iran, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, they're all knocking on the BRICS door. This expansion makes BRICS even more powerful. It gives them more economic muscle to flex. And it sends a clear message. The world is tired of the US calling all the shots. Remember those tariffs Trump was so eager to impose? Yeah, about that. Tariffs rarely work out the way people think they will. Sure, they might punish the other country a little bit, but they also hurt your own consumers, who end up paying higher prices. Plus, tariffs can backfire. They can make the other country even more determined to go their own way. And that's exactly what happened with BRICS. Trump's tariff threat only strengthened their resolve to break free from the dollar. So, what happens if BRICS succeeds in creating its own financial system? Well, it wouldn't be good news for the US. Our economic dominance would take a hit. We wouldn't be able to borrow money as easily. The dollar might even lose its coveted reserve currency status. And it's not just about money. Economic power translates into political power. If the US dollar loses its clout, so does Washington. We might not be able to throw our weight around on the world stage like we used to. Are we headed for a future where the yuan, the ruble, and the rupee reign supreme? It's too early to tell. Creating a new financial system is a monumental task, even for a powerful bloc like BRICS. There are lots of hurdles to overcome. But one thing's for sure, the world is changing. The days of US economic hegemony are numbered. And whether Trump likes it or not, BRICS is leading the charge. Buckle up, folks, it's going to be a bumpy ride. The rise of BRICS and their ambitious plans for a new financial order will have far-reaching consequences. Emerging markets may find new opportunities while traditional powers might face unexpected challenges. Imagine a world where trade agreements are no longer dictated by the dollar, where global investments flow through new channels, and where economic alliances redefine political boundaries. Pause twos. This shift could mean more than just changes in currency value. It could alter global power dynamics, influence international policies, and even impact everyday life. Pause twos. And as these ripples spread, the interconnected web of the global economy will be tested like never before. Pause twos. The journey ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear. The financial landscape is evolving, and everyone will feel its effects. Pause twos. Stay tuned as we navigate through these transformative times together. As BRICS nations push forward with their new financial strategies, the world watches with bated breath. Pause twos. Global reactions are pouring in from every corner of the map. Pause twos. Some nations see this as a golden opportunity to break free from the dominance of the dollar, while others fear the destabilization it might bring. Pause twos. In Europe, leaders debate the implications for the Eurozone. Pause twos. While Asian markets brace for potential shifts in trade dynamics. Pause twos. In Africa, there's a mix of optimism and caution as countries weigh the benefits of new alliances against the risks of economic upheaval. Pause twos. Meanwhile, in the United States, policymakers scramble to respond, aware that the stakes have never been higher. Pause twos. The financial landscape is not just evolving, it's revolutionizing before our eyes. Pause twos. How will the world adapt to this seismic shift? Pause twos. Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The age of BRICS is here, and its impact will be felt far and wide. As BRICS financial maneuvers set new wheels in motion, the global economy braces for the fallout. Emerging markets, already on shaky ground, could face unprecedented volatility. Established economies might find their financial systems tested in ways they haven't been in decades. The international stock markets are already showing signs of instability, with investors pulling back and safe haven assets like gold seeing a surge. Currency exchange rates are fluctuating wildly, and central banks worldwide are on high alert, ready to intervene at a moment's notice. In developing nations, the potential for both opportunity and disaster looms large. Access to alternative financial systems could empower some, but could just as easily plunge others into deeper economic distress. The ripple effects of BRICS' bold move are causing shockwaves that can be felt in boardrooms and government offices around the globe. Economists and analysts scramble to predict what comes next, but the truth is, the full extent of the economic fallout remains uncertain. One thing is clear: the world is on the cusp of an economic transformation, and the road ahead promises to be anything but smooth. As the dust begins to settle, the world looks to the horizon, contemplating the future of global finance and trade. The BRICS nations have set a precedent, challenging the long-standing dominance of Western financial institutions. Their bold move has sparked a conversation about the need for a more balanced and inclusive global economy, one that better represents the diverse interests of all nations. In the short term, uncertainty and volatility may continue to dominate the financial landscape. But within this turbulence lies the potential for innovation and growth. Countries and corporations alike are exploring new partnerships and investment opportunities. Emerging technologies, such as blockchain and digital currencies, offer fresh avenues for financial inclusion and economic development. Leaders around the globe are now tasked with navigating this new economic order. Cooperation and diplomacy will be more critical than ever as nations work together to build a sustainable and resilient global economy. The challenges are immense, but so too are the opportunities. The road ahead is fraught with challenges, but it also holds the promise of a more equitable and prosperous world. As we stand on the brink of this new era, The choices we make today will shape the future of global finance for generations to come. The journey is just beginning. As we gaze into the future, the potential scenarios for BRICS and the global economy unfold like a tapestry of possibilities. The bold steps taken by these nations could pave the way for a more harmonious and prosperous global community. The spirit of collaboration and mutual respect is at the core of this vision, offering a beacon of hope in an often tumultuous world. Imagine a world where economic policies are crafted with the well-being of all humanity in mind, where sustainable development and environmental stewardship are prioritized. The BRICS nations have the opportunity to lead by example, showcasing how diverse economies can work together to address global challenges such as climate change, poverty, and inequality. In this optimistic future, technological advancements play a pivotal role. Innovations in renewable energy, digital finance, and artificial intelligence are harnessed to create new industries and job opportunities, lifting millions out of poverty and driving economic growth. Blockchain technology ensures transparency and trust in financial transactions, fostering a sense of security and reliability in the global market. Education and knowledge exchange become cornerstones of this new era, as countries invest in their human capital, nurturing the next generation of thinkers, innovators, and leaders. Cultural exchange programs and international collaborations flourish, breaking down barriers and building a global community united by shared values and aspirations. The journey towards this brighter future is not without its challenges, but the potential rewards are immense. By embracing cooperation, inclusivity, and innovation, the BRICS nations and their global partners can craft a narrative of hope and progress. Together, they can redefine the future of global finance and create a world where prosperity is within reach for all. As we stand at this crossroads, the choices we make today will echo through the corridors of time. The horizon is filled with promise, and the path forward is illuminated by the collective dreams and aspirations of people around the world. The future is not just a destination, it is a journey of hope, and it begins now. As we wrap up our journey through the intricate web of global economics, it's clear that the future holds both challenges and opportunities. The BRICS nations' ambitious moves, the shifting dynamics of international trade, and the evolving landscape of global finance are all pieces of a larger puzzle. Each piece, each decision, shapes the world we live in and the world we will pass on to future generations. Reflecting on the key points we've explored, we see a world in flux. Trade wars and tariffs, the rise of alternative currencies, and the potential for new economic alliances, all these elements play a crucial role in defining our collective future. History has shown us that economic policies and international relationships can bring both prosperity and hardship. But amidst the uncertainty, there is always hope. The potential for collaboration, innovation, and shared progress is immense. By staying informed and engaged, we can all contribute to shaping a better world. Knowledge is power, and understanding the forces at play in the global economy empowers us to make informed decisions and advocate for positive change. So, what's next? We encourage you to stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged. Follow credible news sources, participate in discussions, and never stop learning. The world of economics may seem complex, but it's a story that affects us all, and every voice matters in writing its next chapter. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's continue to explore, understand, and shape the world together. The future is ours to create, and it begins with each one of us. Until next time, stay informed, stay hopeful, and keep looking towards the horizon.